It's the history of the Arteta. Do you remember when Chiellini was talking about Tottenham and he said, it's the history of the Tottenham? And when he said that, we knew exactly what he meant. We knew exactly the point that he was making because we know who Tottenham Hotspur are. We know what they represent. We know what their history tells us about the future. Now I'm looking at Mikel Arteta and I'm wondering if the history of the Mikel Arteta tells us about the future. Like, we know that Arsenal under Mikel Arteta can be a brilliant team. We know that they can be a really functional team. We know that they, on their day, can be an excellent team. But we also know, through the history of the Arteta, that Arsenal, when it most matters, can wilt under pressure. They can flop when they need to be strong. And we have seen it time and time again. We have learned that Mikel Arteta has it in him to capitulate. We know that Arsenal under Arteta do have this weak underbelly. They do have this vulnerability. And I thought that perhaps it was now a myth. I thought that perhaps it was confined to the ash heap of history. But how on earth can you get into a situation where you are 2-0 up against a team that sit bottom of the league only to draw that game? They drew. And in fact, when I say they drew, it sounds like there were no winners tonight. It sounds like that two teams drew and that was the end of the story, but it wasn't. There was a winner. There was a real winner. We saw a team win tonight. We saw a team celebrate. If you could have seen the players from this team, if you could have seen the manager from this team, they would have been doing the Marco Tardelli celebration around their front room. Pep Guardiola would have been in raptures. Pep Guardiola would have been doing the Marco Tardelli, genuinely. He would have been absolutely elated because it wasn't about two teams drawing tonight. It was about one team drawing tonight, and it was about one team winning tonight. Because Wolverhampton Wanderers, they were brilliant tonight. They did really well. They got exactly what they deserved out of the game, but they will be relegated. So their story is known. Arsenal is still writing their story. Manchester City is still writing their story. And there was a winner and there was a loser. And the winner was Guardiola and the loser was undoubtedly Mikel Arteta. Like, you just can't be 2-0 up against a team that are bottom of the league and not win the game. It is atrocious. And do you know what? Forget the fact that they're bottom of the league. Arsenal are breaking records here. Forget the fact that Wolves were bottom. This is the first time in Premier League history that a team top of the league has let a 2-goal lead slip against a team in the relegation zone. Like, does that sound like a title-winning team to you? Genuinely. Like, if you think that Arsenal win the league, and I've made a strong case that Arsenal will win the league. I believe that Arsenal are the best team in the country. I believe that Arsenal are the best squad in the country. I believe that Arsenal are the most suited team to win the league. But when I listen to stats like that, when you watch them play, when you watch them capitulate, when you think about their form of late, when you think about it was only a week ago that we were talking about them dropping points to Brentford, how can you possibly still think that they are capable of winning the league? Can they get there? Yeah, of course they can. Can they limp to the title? Absolutely. Can they get over the finish line first? Maybe. But they are not relying on Manchester City capitulating. They are relying on Manchester City not shining. Because tonight, Wolverhampton Wanderers got exactly what they deserved out of that game. And they were there for the taking. If you're an Arsenal fan watching anywhere in the world, or if you're an Arsenal fan who were in the away end at Molineux, horrible away end, for the first 40 minutes, Wolves didn't turn up. I was looking at them and I was thinking, you are a team who should be fighting for your lives, fighting for survival. And instead of that, they were weak, they were limp, they were abject. Arsenal were having it all their own way. And it was like, where is the aggression from Wolves? Suddenly, it felt like they were wronged by the referee. And the stands were up, the players were up, and they burst into life. And Arsenal allowed them to, because they didn't finish them off. And by the end, Wolves got what they deserved out of the game, and Arsenal got what they deserved. And that was the fact that they dropped major points. It was self-induced chaos. It was a self-induced calamity. It was totally unnecessary. I mean, this was the opposite of what looking like champions-elect is supposed to be. You know what you're supposed to do? You know, if you are the best team in the country and you are going to win the league, do you know what you do when you go away to Molineux? You win 3-0, you go 1-0 up after 40 minutes, you go 2-0 up after 70, 3-0 up after 75, and it's over. Job done. Nobody gets booked. Nobody gets sent off. Nobody loses their temper. Nobody gets injured. It is just a professional turnout. You go there, you win, you make the statement, you go home. Job done, on to the next. One of them. Job done, next. Next. That's how they need to be thinking. Instead of that, They've got all emotional. You've got Gabriel Jesus having fights on the way off. Where was the fight and the heart during the game? Like, forget having fights when the referee's blown the full-time whistle. It's over. There's nothing you can do then. I thought it really was poor from Arsenal. And I'll tell you what, watching them, it was turgid stuff. Like, those final 20 minutes from Arsenal were brutal. Brutal. Like, it felt to me that Arsenal were time wasting against a team that are bottom of the league. I mean, a team that are going to be relegated. And how did it come to this? Like, Arsenal had Wolves on the ropes. They had the team that are going to be relegated at their mercy. And they were 2-0 up. But for various reasons, primarily the cowardice of Mikel Arteta, they have been done badly at Molineux. And this could be the result that we trace back to the day that Arsenal didn't win the league. You know, you have those moments. There was a moment a couple of years ago, wasn't there? Another 2-2 draw. In fact, this game was pointed out to me on the live that I did after this game. Do you remember when Arsenal drew 2-2 away at Liverpool? Granit Xhaka, Trent Alexander-Arnold, it all went mad. Some would pinpoint that being the day that they didn't win the league. You can have these moments, and a draw from these circumstances at Wolves really does feel bad. But it's also just the cowardice from Arteta. Like, they declined to press their advantage. Like, you know when they were 1-0 up, 2-0 up, go 3, go 4, go 5. Instead of that, he makes the most predictable substitutions, and you could see the frustration on his players. Like, I felt like Declan Rice was really getting the hump. I could see Declan Rice constantly cajoling his teammates, constantly remonstrating with his teammates, constantly urging his teammates to up it and to concentrate. They ignored him. They ignored him. You know, they took absolutely no notice of him. And as a result, Wolves got back into the game. And they just don't seem like a team that has that bravery, that fight to go and claim a league title, to go and steal a league title, to go and make a league title yours. Because they don't have enough about them. They don't have enough fight. They don't have enough hunger. Rice has it. Like, genuinely, who has it? Who's a trenches man? You know, if Tony Adams is right, you know that theory that Tony Adams said? He said you need Adams plus 4, so 5 out of the 11 need to be ready to have a fight. You look down that Arsenal team. You know, if Declan Rice is looking, who's going to have a fight? Who's going to be with me? Who is going to come to the trenches, come to the battle? Who is a gangster that wants to win the league with me? And he's looking down the line. And he's looking and he sees, let's be positive first, right? Gabriel. He looks down the line, he sees Gabriel. He's like, Gabriel's a geezer. Gabriel's going to back me. Looks down the line then, he looks and he sees Martinelli. No. He looks down the line that way, he sees Trossard. Good player, but no. Noni Madueke, no. Bukayo Saka, maybe. He's got a bit of stature back, Bukayo Saka, but not really his thing. Saliba, I think he's big, but no. Zubimendi, probably not. Where's the fight and the hunger and just the bullying capacity? And crucially, a player that you need to be able to talk about here, it's a centre forward. You should be looking down the line, you should be looking at Gyökeres, you should be going, right, Gyökeres has got it. And I'll tell you what, I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. The lack of goals in this team. And Gyökeres is the problem here. But my God, you know, don't get me wrong, I thought Saka in that new number 10 role, I thought it gave Arsenal a new dimension. And obviously, opening the scoring, getting your first goal for however long was great news. But it's his first goal for 16 games. So yeah, it was a masterstroke to play him as a number 10 and whatever else. But that should have opened the door to a procession. When Arsenal went 1-0 up in those circumstances, that should have been the moment that they came alive, that they were invigorated, and they were on their way to winning 5-0. But they weren't. And part of the reason that they weren't was because of Victor Gyökeres. Like, where was he? Who is he? You know, I got a lot of stick because I called Victor Gyökeres a dud. A lot of stick. But I was completely and utterly correct. He is a dud. Like, where was he? I just cannot believe that he is as bad as this. Like, he isn't a Premier League player. And anybody that was talking about him being the most prolific goal scorer in Europe and all of that nonsense, yeah, he was. But he was doing it in the Portuguese league. And that league clearly counts for nothing. Like, Victor Gyökeres had 11 touches of the ball at Molineux before being substituted. Like, he has failed to have a shot on target in 15 of his 25 Premier League games. 60% of the games that he plays, Arsenal striker doesn't have a shot on goal. This is unsustainable. Like, every single title-winning team. Think about it. Think about it from an Arsenal perspective. Why were Arsenal brilliant? Why did Arsenal win the double? in 2002. Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp. Why did they do it in 1998? Goal-scoring firepower, Nicolas Anelka, Ian Wright. Didier Drogba won Chelsea a league title. Andy Cole won Manchester United a league title. Wayne Rooney won Manchester United a league title. Diego Costa won Chelsea a league title. Who is winning Arsenal this league title up front? Who is going to go and claim it? Yeah, they can defend their way to a league title. Maybe it can happen. They can not give it away. They can end up with it by being the least worst. But quite often when you win a league title, you need to go and you need to make it yours. And Arsenal aren't doing that. And Gyökeres can't do it. 60% of the games that he plays in, he isn't testing the opposition goalkeeper. Like, you know, if that stat that I just read out there was about Gabriel Jesus, you could maybe rationalise it. You could maybe argue that it's because of how much he influences the game in other ways. You know, if we were talking about, I don't know, Olivier Giroud as a player. Olivier Giroud doesn't have a shot in 60% of the games that he plays in. You could kind of rationalise it. Gyökeres does nothing else. He does nothing else. Like, he simply needs to perform. And, you know, I just can't believe it. And then you think about the other players. Noni Madueke. Does he do enough? Was he good today? I mean, he faded away. Gabriel Martinelli, how good was he? Again, faded. You think about the substitutes. Jesus. Zilch. No impact from Leandro Trossard. And you've got to think, off the back of that draw to Brentford, I mean, it just feels like it's going away from them, doesn't it? It feels like they are increasingly tense, and it actually feels like the pressure is getting to them. It's a major worry for Mikel Arteta. And if this goes wrong for Arteta, I think this could be really bad. It's 2 wins in 7 in the league. That isn't title-winning form. And up next, they face Tottenham. Now, look, Tottenham are abysmal, but they've got to go to White Hart Lane to face Igor Tudor's Tottenham, which is an unknown commodity. White Hart Lane will have a new manager bounce. I mean, Arteta's got to get this right, because a lot of these problems are his making. A lot of what's good about Arsenal is his making, but a lot of these problems are also his making. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe. But I really want to see what you say in these comments. I'm going to be live in them the second this video goes up. Hope you're having a wonderful night, and I wish you loads of love and loads of luck. Ta-da.